You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we hang out and talk about everything from hammocks and hammock camping to the group hangs from around the country. All right, everybody, what is up? And welcome back to another episode of the Hammock Hangers Podcast. I am your host, Paul Collins, or also known as Skunkape. I've got my co-host, AJ Glenn, or Phoenix here.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
And our guest this week is a backpacker, adventure seeker, and YouTuber. He started backpacking a little over 3 years ago and has backpacked and camped in the heat of summer and in the sub-zero winters in Minnesota. His passion is making adventure videos that tell a story. So let's welcome Aaron Krohnberg to the podcast. Welcome, Aaron.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's just go ahead and jump in. I know, in your bio, like I just read, you said that you've been backpacking a little over 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
What got you into backpacking?
So I was watching YouTube one day and kind of went down the rabbit hole of YouTube clips, and
that never happens.
Yeah, yeah. And of all things, I didn't really camp a whole lot, 4 or so years ago, and Syntax 77 started popping up into my feed. And so I started watching his adventure videos and kind of got into it, and I never thought I would do it. I just really enjoyed watching him out there camping.
Right.
And then I started getting a little bit more into my career. I work in IT, and a technical career that doesn't really go away because they can always get a hold of you. All right. So eventually I had a particularly stressful day at work. And my buddy asked me what I was going to do. And I've been kind of dabbling in camping a little bit here and there, testing stuff in the backyard. And yeah, eventually just started hiking as a way to like making sure that I cannot get bothered. Like, so that's where you see my tagline, hike until the signal's weak.
Yeah,
it came from me literally hiking until I didn't have signal. So no one could bother me when I go camping. So
that's awesome.
So that's kind of how it all started. Just an escape from my career, from everything.
Okay. So what made you start making videos and stuff as you were out on your hikes and adventures and everything?
So I'd bring my cell phone with me on my adventures, and I'd take pictures and I'd record different things. And I would actually share them with my dad when I got back. Like, hey, Dad, I went camping, check this out. I would just share like just raw footage, nothing cut up or anything. And then I'd go out on another adventure and I'd kind of cut it up and kind of started editing it a little bit. And he really enjoyed these videos that I was kind of giving him. And then, so I just kind of said, maybe other people would enjoy it, and then I created the YouTube channel, and just tried to hone it as every video I create, just try to improve it, 1% better every time, and try to just get better at it. And that's how it came. And I really enjoyed it. Editing it so the video part of it kind of fits in. I love to camp and I love technology, and that like mashes everything together.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So we kind of have that same mentality with the podcast. So we're trying to get 1% better each time. So we're like at 38% right now. So we're not quite to passing, but
you're doing better than me. Yeah, I'm running about 25% right now, probably.
So like when you were getting out and you were saying, hey, I just want to get out to these trails or just get out hiking to get away from signal and stuff, what did you do to find your routes? Like how did you choose which trails to do? Do you live next to a trail system, or how did that come about?
So the signal thing was more luck than anything for the most part. I wasn't looking at maps and looking at like cell phone tower maps or anything, like wasn't getting that technical. I would just we have lots of state parks here in Minnesota. I would just go find a state park to start with, and just reserve a spot, the furthest one out I could find, and just show up and hike in. And the backpacking sites are usually pretty widely available. And then that's how I got started. And then now I primarily do mostly dispersed camping, where I'll just go to a state forest and hike in. Gotcha. And that's kind of my jam now.
So how did you get into specifically exploring camping with a hammock?
So yeah, Syntax 77, that's kind of who kind of turned me on to camping. So then I was like, well, hey, hammocks are what you do. and I had camped a little bit as I was younger and didn't particularly like laying on the ground. I always remember it being a little uncomfortable, a little achy. And then, so that's when I decided, like, I'm going to try a hammock and stay off the ground and dry and nothing gets dirty. Everything stays clean.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's where I kind of came up with the idea to start out hammocking. So.
Okay, awesome.
The name of your YouTube channel is Signal Outdoors.
Yep.
And a minute ago, you told us your tagline.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know you made a video about this, but I want you to explain it on the podcast as well.
Okay.
About how you came up with the name and all of that of Signal Outdoors. And then I love in the video you talked about your logo as well. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Okay. Yeah. So the Signal Outdoors kind of came from, my backpacking was always me trying to get far away from signal so my cell phone wouldn't work. And so people couldn't bother me essentially. So one day I left work on a particularly stressful day and my buddy asked me what I was doing. And I said, well, I'm hiking until the signal's weak. That's literally what I told him.
Right.
And it kind of took off. He's a buddy of mine, so I'd always kind of leave. I just, bye, I'm leaving. That's kind of how
I do that sometimes with my wife. Where are you going? I don't know. I'm sure the cell phone signal is weak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I kind of got, so yeah, that's kind of where that came from. And I work on wireless stuff at work. So it's Signal, and you see me reference, I think it's some of my like reviews, I'll say trying to help you separate the signal from the noise.
Right.
That's a wireless thing that from wireless networking, signal to noise ratio, trying to make sure you can hear the valid signal over the noise in the background noise of where you're trying to broadcast stuff.
Gotcha.
So you'll see references like that throughout my channel from my technology career.
Okay.
And then, my wife I was coming up logos for my YouTube channel. And my wife kind of had the idea of like, cause I'll record, I kind of do some guitar stuff and I'll record. And she thought it would be a cool idea to use the waveform of me saying hike until the signal's weak into my recording software. So all the squiggly lines that you see in the recording software.
Yep.
Put that up top and then put Signal Outdoors below there. So all those squiggly lines in my logo, that's the actual waveform of me saying hike until the signal's weak.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat.
So, yeah.
I mean, whenever I first saw it, I thought it was, just one that you'd grabbed, offline somewhere, one of the
like a stock image,
vector images, stock images, whatever.
Sure.
And then whenever I saw that video, I thought that was pretty neat. Now that first hike that you done, I know in the video you said that you had your wife a little worried.
Yeah. That was probably like that was my second ever solo trip ever.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was a little bit on edge to begin with, just me being out there by myself. Yeah. And then, the storm rolled in, the power went out. I was blissfully unaware the power was out. The phones were out to the state parks. My wife calls and she gets the busy tone. And on top of that, I completely lose track of time. And then like 2 hours late to checking in with her. So she calls the sheriff. Thinking dad crushed under a tree somewhere. So yeah. So yeah, I had to wait a little bit before I go camping again after that after that stunt.
Now, does your wife ever go camping with you?
Not yet. She's shown a little bit of interest in it.
Okay.
We have some pretty young kids, so it's tough for us to find someone to stick the kids with and go out there. And right now, I like roughing it. I kind of enjoy getting out there and getting away from all of the luxuries in life. And that's not her idea of a good time.
Yeah, I can relate. My wife and I do a lot of camping together, but the type of and the style of camping that I prefer doing is very different than what she does, but we can get them out there. And so that's a big thing. So how old are your kids?
I have a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got some youngsters. some
I think my son was about 7 the first time I took him on a major, like just us going out on a backpacking trip. So yeah.
I think we're close. Maybe this summer I might try some backyard stuff with him. I haven't done anything in the backyard with him yet. Yeah.
You gotta start them off somewhere, right?
Yep, exactly.
I think the first time we tried to take my daughter out, she was 4. And I'll save this story for a different episode, but it did not end well. No one was injured or anything. Well, maybe my wife was a little traumatized, but it was okay.
I took my son to the state park once just hiking. We never left the parking lot. He was so interested in all the rocks in the parking lot. We never left the parking lot. We just got out of the car, walked maybe 20 feet, got back in the car and went back home. That's all he needed. So
sometimes that's the really cool thing about going camping with kids. Like you don't have to plan that. It's just like the little things that they get so invested in. Yeah.
And it's kind of fun to see all the stuff you overlook. Like I don't even think twice about walking through a parking lot. Yet he's fascinated by it. So yeah, it's kind of fun.
So do you prefer solo hiking or hiking with other people?
So it depends what I'm going to do. If I'm going to film, I prefer to be by myself. Okay. If I'm not going to film the trip, I don't mind being with other people. Okay. So the only thing is when I film, I kind of feel like I can kind of tune out, kind of ignore what's going on around me. So right. Yeah, I kind of like to be off on my own and filming different things. And I'm not the type of person that likes to run, get, mingle and get into the crowd of people and film and stuff like that. Kind of like,
gotcha.
And actually in my latest films, I really don't even talk in them. I do it all the stuff is done in voiceover now after
yeah, I've noticed that on a lot of them. And that's actually why I had that question, because I noticed more of your videos were solo hikes than with, like a group. I mean, you do have a couple where, I know I saw one where you were with, Tim Buckley and, Danny Warnock and a couple of other people, which actually we're going to have Buckley on here, next week.
Okay. Yeah. I've camped with Buckley a few times. Yeah, we're good. We're good buddies. I have a picture hanging up right here above my desk that he painted me of my hot tent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and if Danny Warnock doesn't find his way to weave his way into a lot of our episodes.
Yeah, I've camped with Danny a couple of times.
Yeah, Danny's a good guy.
Yeah, he's really good guy too. He does make some amazing gear.
Yeah. So, you had you done a hiking trip. It was about a 3 or 4 day hiking trip on the Superior Hiking Trail.
Yeah, 4 day, 3 night.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So that was my first. I'd never hiked that far north before, ever. Like that's my biggest adventure to date.
Okay.
And I have a buddy, John. Everyone calls him Swag. He's got a YouTube channel as well. He's section hiked the whole thing, all 300 miles. So
okay.
I had him go with me to kind of show me the ropes. I was a little bit nervous about just showing up for a 3-day adventure by myself. Gotcha. So he kind of got me started and then dropped me off further north. And then I spent another couple of days hiking back to my car. So it might have been, 4 days hiking, 3 nights.
Okay.
That was quite the adventure. I'd never been out there that far.
What are some of the things that you liked about it and some of the things that you did not like about it?
So the Superior Hiking Trail is really muddy. You're always slipping and sliding in mud. That was something I wasn't quite anticipating. The trip was a little bit on the colder end. I think every night was in the 20s.
Okay.
Waking up to frozen water. Your water bottle's frozen solid. But I do a lot of hot tenting, so I'm kind of know how to get up and kind of get moving. You kind of just have to get over that hump in the morning where you're kind of changing your clothes and stuff and shivering in the cold while you're pulling your pants up. And then you get going. So yeah, I think, the cold kind of wears on you. Psychologically, just being days away from your car can kind of wear on you. Cause I would kind of get out there, and you'd get up on these balds where there's just rock. You're
Right.
kind of, and all of a sudden the trail disappears, and you're like, well, there's no cairns up here. Do I just keep walking straight? Do I? Then you start second guessing, like, oh, maybe it was. I have my GPS with me, but it's kind of hard to tell exactly
Right.
where the trail is. So there's a few times where I lost the trail, and I can't just turn around and go home. I gotta keep going forward because that's the only option. So yeah, and some of that was beginner. I'm a beginner at hiking that far out and that across that many days. So yeah.
How many miles did you say it was that you hiked?
I hiked 36 miles total, and 26 of it was solo.
Okay. And how long is the entire trail itself?
The entire trail itself is 300 miles.
Okay. Do you plan on going out and doing any more sections of it to complete the whole trail in section hikes, or?
I'll definitely continue to go out there and hike. I don't know if I'll section hike it, like start in numerical order, kind of sort of all the way up through. I'll kind of just pick and. On my bucket list would be just to through hike it on one trip. Would be a bucket list for me, but it'd be when my kids get a little older and stuff. But,
right.
Yeah, definitely, and then hit the border route trail up along Canada there too. Would be really cool. So
okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of your gear that you took on this trip and how you were able to outfit yourself for this adventure that you had.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I brought a Superior Gear hammock with me. So that's the hammocks that Danny Warnock makes, where the insulation's all integrated into the hammock. So I didn't have an separate underquilt. It's all built right into the hammock. And I had a 15 degree. The one with 950 fill power down. It's got the ultralight fabrics and stuff on it. I kind of did the buy once and cry once on that. I bought enough gear where I was like, I'm not gonna go cheap anymore. I'm just gonna what's the good one? Give me that one. So I got the 15 degree hammock, and then I had a 30 degree quilt with me, all 950 fill power down, and I had Granite Gear, I think a 60 liter pack. That's a little 2-pound pack. That pack is nice, but the shoulder straps are real narrow. I never thought about that for a long trip. I kept wondering, like, why are my shoulders so sore? Like my trapezoids were super sore at the end of each day, and I didn't ever really realize how narrow those shoulder straps were. So I think when I go back and get I think I'm going to replace that pack. Definitely going to pay closer attention to how wide those shoulder straps are.
What pack are you looking at to go with?
Everyone's kind of going to the Hilltops pack stuff. But I don't know if I'm going to go with that, or I haven't really done a whole lot of looking into what I'm going to go to next, but Hilltops pack, I've been kind of interested in, that. What's that? It's not Exagrid, or can't think of the fabric that they make that out of. Not Dyneema anymore. The pack.
The X pack.
The X pack. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah. Something ultralight like that would be kind of nice, but I don't know. I don't necessarily an ultralight hiker yet, but
I know I've got a Z-Packs pack, which is that one right there. That's the Z-Packs. It's light. But I also, that one there, where am I going here? This one here, the gray one, and then that one there. Mm-hmm. Both of those are the Osprey.
Okay.
They are a little heavier, but those are the anti-gravity, the AG series that they have. Mm-hmm. They are super, super comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Super comfortable.
Yeah, that's what I hike with, is an Osprey, and it has the anti-gravity gear. And it's really nice, super comfortable, and it keeps your back from making waterfalls down your butt. So
yeah.
I saw some Gregory's, the new Gregory's, look like they have something similar to the AG. The way that the mesh is done and everything. I hadn't really 100% looked into them yet, but I just saw a quick video, and the way that it looked fairly similar.
I have a Gregory pack. It's super comfortable. I bet it's the 85-liter pack though.
Yeah. I love Gregory. The blue pack that you see right there, that's a Kelty pack. But whenever I had done my through hike of the AT in 2012, the buckles on that one started messing up, and they got to where they would all start slipping. So whenever I went to trail days, Gregory was there, and I actually got to talk to Mr. Gregory, and he had his seamstress change out every one of the buckles. So that Kelty pack has all Gregory buckles. And then I had taken my DSLR camera with me with one of the fanny pack style camera holders. And he had them change out the buckles and add a couple of buckles to the hip belts so that I could put my pack on and then clip my camera bag to that pack. So it's kind of a Kelty Gregory hybrid Frankenstein type bag. I will never get rid of that bag. I probably won't ever use it again, but I'll never get rid of it because of that.
So the thing with backpacking and getting gear is, so when I thought about backpacking, it's like, well, what do I need? Well, step one, I need a backpack. I was super excited about buying a backpack. And I wish that when I would have bought the backpack last, the very last thing. Yes, I went and got, like, I'm a 40-liter guy. That's what I went to the pack, like, I need a 40-liter pack. And I started strapping all my gear to the outside of my pack because it wouldn't fit it, because not all my gear would fit. And then I went back and I need an 85-liter pack. That's what I need.
They do always tell you to buy your pack last, because if you buy it first and you get one that's too big, you're going to see extra space. So you're going to just start, you're going to fill it. Then you're going to have too much weight. Or it can go vice versa, to where you get one too small and then you don't have enough room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I got one too small and didn't have enough room, and then one too big. And then 60-liter was just right. The third time was a charm.
That's funny. So, getting back to some of these questions here. Overnight trips or multi-day trips, which do you like better?
I like the multi-day trips. I can primarily I can only really get away for just an overnight usually. But I feel like just when I'm waking up on an overnight, I just feel like I'm just starting to get into my groove. Like I'm just starting to get figuring out how I'm going to operate, and I'm going to tear down and set up, and then I'm going home. So multi-days to my jam, because I 4 days was kind of a sweet spot for me. That was just about right. Yeah, I liked that. That was good.
Yeah, I love getting out for a couple of days. More than one. It would actually be hard for me to just do like an overnight, because I would feel, with me, it'd be like, okay, I got here, now I'm setting up, and the next morning it's like, okay, I got to tear down and go home. I like to be able to get out there. Whenever I go out to the woods, I go out there to unwind and relax and just be out there in nature and just decompress.
Yeah. It's almost like, for me, it's like I go out there, it's almost like someone's giving me a steak, like a perfectly cooked steak, and I take 3 bites and then they come by and take it. Like, wait, I'm not done yet. That's what just a single overnight trip is like for me. Yeah.
It's almost like a tease, like an outdoor tease.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll take what I can get at this juncture. I'm lucky to get away with the youngsters.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. So what do you got, AJ?
All right, so
let you throw out some questions.
So when you're out in backpacking, or when you're just out camping and stuff, what is your favorite meal to have out in the backwoods?
So the strange thing about camping for me is that things that I would think don't taste good at home taste amazing in the backcountry. I'll eat anything and everything. If it's warm, it tastes good. Even coffee, this nasty coffee just tastes amazing in the morning. Something about just being out there and just being grateful for everything you have when you're out there, because everything's keeping you comfortable. But if I had to be specific, I primarily just do dehydrated meals at this point. I kind of like the Peak Refuel. It was like a
Peak Refuel is the bomb.
Yeah, I think it was like a Alfredo thing. I've had that like 3 times
Alfredo.
now. Chicken Alfredo. Yeah, that's my favorite. I've had that like 3 times now.
Yeah, I don't know that I've had any of their meals that aren't good. Even their breakfast. Have you had any of their breakfast meals?
Yeah.
That breakfast, the breakfast skillet or whatever.
No, not that. I think I had. I brought some biscuits and gravy on my Superior trip, but
biscuits and gravy is real good.
Didn't let it dehydrate fully. Or rehydrate fully.
Yeah,
not dehydrate.
They put the whole biscuits in there,
and
so once you open it up, you got to break those biscuits up. I learned that.
Yeah.
Don't try. Don't try and rehydrate the whole biscuit in one go. It don't.
Okay,
work.
I tried that, and I was that was up that one night. It was super windy and cold, and I'm like waiting, like I couldn't wait for it to dehydrate. I'm sitting there and I'm like sitting up there crunching on biscuits.
Yeah. If you try and just pour the water in there with the biscuits being whole, because they usually put 2 biscuits in there, I think. And if you just pour the water in without breaking it up, it will never rehydrate.
Okay, that's good to know.
Fully. So just take those biscuits and break them up, and then pour your water into it.
Okay.
And it will be phenomenal. But the breakfast skillet also that has the eggs and sausage and bacon and cheese and peppers and all that in it. It is to die for.
That sounds amazing.
It will fill you up.
Yeah. And then what's for breakfast? I mean, I normally don't eat breakfast, but there's like these granola and dehydrated strawberries and milk. I can't remember who makes that actually. Now that I think about it,
I think Peak Refuel makes some, but
might be a Mountain House thing.
Mountain House may make some too, though.
Yeah, I might have one in my closet here. I can't see it. I think it's a Mountain House thing. But yeah, I'll bring that with me too for breakfast.
Yeah.
I even started making those because you can buy powdered milk.
Yeah.
And the dehydrated strawberries and just granola, and I've made them myself before, and that's real easy.
I'm fixing to actually be getting me a dehydrator and start dehydrating. Not dehydrated, sorry.
Freeze
dryer.
Oh, a freeze dryer.
Yeah, and start freeze drying my own stuff, making my own meals and everything.
Okay.
Freeze drying them.
Freeze dryers are spendy, aren't they? They're pretty.
They can be.
Okay.
But I was going to end up getting like one of the large ones, and I think they're about $5,000 for the large. But my oldest sister, she always gets a wild hair per butt, and she'll see something neat and she'll get it. Well, she ended up getting one of the medium sized, and she used it for a little while. Now she don't use it anymore. And so she told me, she goes, if you want to come get this freeze dryer and make your meals and use it, you can. She goes, I'll just give it to you under one condition. You just, whenever you make some of the meals, you got to give me some of the meals to try and keep and everything. Sure.
That's a solid deal.
So I just got to go pick it up.
There you go.
Making my own meals.
That'd be a lot of fun, actually, experimenting with that.
Yep.
So what's your favorite beverage to take out when you're camping?
I usually only ever drink water when I'm out backpacking. I don't bring beer or booze at all, really, with me in the backcountry at all.
Nobody wants to hike with that, AJ.
I mean, I would, but
I have a hard enough time with directions as it is. You don't want me to get me all tossed up out there.
That's why I tell people I am not a hiker. I am more of a wandering napper, and we're gonna go with that. Oh, me. So
yeah, I probably always drink water out there.
He takes beer or liquor out into the backwoods, AJ. He's really going to have his wife worried.
Exactly.
So if you could hang anywhere in the world, what would be like some of your top 3 places that you would like to go, or some places that you've already gone that you would just absolutely love to go back?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Anywhere in the world. I kind of like, I don't know. I like Oregon. I think if I could go way out into Oregon somewhere, that would probably be my go-to place my ultimate hang is to go out there in the Pacific Northwest. Yep.
Yeah, that's one place that I have not gone myself.
I've hiked Multnomah Falls once before I started backpacking, and that was pretty amazing. Yeah, before it burned. Someone burned down. Yep, that's out in Oregon. Yeah, so yeah, it's like Jurassic Park. The ferns everywhere, and big pine trees and big. Yeah, it's like picture Jurassic Park. That's exactly what it is.
That would be neat.
Awesome. Yeah, it's pretty
kind of
awesome.
Like stepping back in time.
It is. It's you feel like you're back in time.
That would be pretty neat.
So looking over your videos, you do a variety of different types of camping. You do hammock camping, you do hot tent camping, you do tent camping. What are some things that you like about each style of camping? And what are some pros and cons versus one or the other?
Mm-hmm. So I could get less specific. I could say just camping in the winter. The big pro there is if there's snow on the ground, I can bring everything in the kitchen sink because I pull it in a sled behind me on a hip belt. So that's pretty awesome. I can bring my big 8-pound sleeping bag, throw that in my sled, and you don't really have to think so much about your ounces and stuff as you're throwing it in. You kind of just it's all about staying comfortable in the winter for me. And then let's see here. So I like to do, to get into like the bushcraft stuff. I have one trip where I did in the winter where I just set up a tarp in like a snowplow configuration and just slept under a tarp. And that was cool because the pack, the amount of gear you need was pretty minimal. So that was nice. But one thing I didn't think about when I went out was the psychological factor of just literally laying in the woods. There's nothing between you or anything that wanted to walk up and sniff you or whatever wanted to go on. You kind of slept with one eye open that entire night. There's a video of it, and you'll notice that there's a little Yuko candle lantern lit all night long in front of me. Yeah. There's a reason the candle was on all night long. Yeah, but so there's nice things about being lightweight, and there's in the summer, and then it's nice to go in the winter and then throw all the lightweight stuff away and load the sled up with as much stuff as I want to bring to keep me comfortable. So
gotcha. So what's the lowest temperature that you've ever camped in?
-8 is the coldest I've slept outside in. That was just in my backyard, just trying to see how cold my sleeping bag could go comfortably, and I could probably push it much further than that if I really wanted to. That was in a hot tent, but the thing is with a hot tent is I don't particularly leave the stove running all night, so I just use it to go to bed warm. Then I let it go out and to make sure that I have the gear that I need for the temps with me. Because if I couldn't get all the wood to keep the stove going all night and I didn't have the right gear, I'd be in big trouble.
Gotcha. So what do you like about hot tent camping? Because we've had a lot of guests on that, that's something that they have done or they've had a lot of interest in doing. We always get a lot of questions about it for people that send us messages. So what are some things that you like and some things that you may be like, really consider this before you get into it?
So when you watch the videos, it's really romanticized, right? You go out there, you start the fire, the fireplace, and it starts to warm up. They don't show us all the work that goes into setting up camp, cutting and processing wood, finding the wood. It's actually a lot of work to go out in a hot tent. So that's the biggest con. But when you crawl into that thing after the sun goes down, you got that big pile of wood that's as good as money in the bank as far as you're concerned, and you're just putting wood in there and you're super comfortable. You just relax, and it's really a lot of fun. So you just gotta be ready to do some sweat equity. and
so what has been your scariest night, either in a hammock or just out camping?
So nothing really crazy has ever happened to me, but my first solo night, your mind just plays games on you when I went out to the woods, and you're thinking about the past you as a little kid. Like me as a little kid right now, this would be the most terrifying thing I could ever think of possibly doing? Walking into the woods and just staying out there all night long. And then you hear every little, squirrel that's hopping through the leaves, and it sounds like a bear running through the forest. So you're convinced that it's something that it isn't. So yeah, my first night solo, and then my second night solo, I heard a pack of coyotes for the first time, yipping and howling, and
those things are loud.
Yeah, so they started yipping and howling, and I started, kind of questioning what I was doing. So yeah, and then I was kind of up on a ridge, and they were kind of running through this riverbed below me, and one of them was whimpering, and I don't know what was going on down there, but one of them was not happy. And yeah, so I was listening to that. But yeah, I was kind of scared of them that night, but now I actually look forward to hearing them. And it's like, all right, the coyotes are going now when I'm out there, so I'm just getting complete opposite now.
It is funny how things change once you get, once you've gone out, for a couple of nights and get, used to it. I mean, because that first night you're out there, you swear that Bigfoot and Mothman and the Jersey Devil and everybody else are all ganging up to come after you. But once you get out there, it's peaceful. Yep.
It's weird because if I sit in bed and think about my trip that's coming, if I have a trip coming up that morning, if I sit in bed and kind of think about it, and I kind of think about being out in the woods, you can kind of start getting, your mind can start playing games in you. But it's weird how the instant I set foot in the woods, I'm not scared at all. It's perfectly peaceful. Yeah. It's perfectly calm. It's where you should feel like that's what I should be. And
it's like home.
Awesome. Yep.
You're back home out there.
Yep. Definitely. So to go to the flip flop of, I used to be scared of coyotes and all the things that you expect to be scared of. Now what scares me is when I hear the wind start to pick up and you start to hear the trees creak a little bit. I'm convinced I'm about to get crushed by a tree now. That's the thing that scares me the most now.
That seems to be a little more unpredictable than the animal that you hear off in the distance.
Yeah. So now it's trees that scare me.
At least with an animal, if you hear an animal getting closer, you see it, you can start yelling and scare it off. You start hearing a tree creak and crack and fall, start to fall, you ain't going to scream and scare it away. It's just going to keep on coming.
Yep. It's not going to care.
I think that's the one thing for camping up your way. We don't get a lot of this in Florida, but when it gets to those super low temperatures and the trees start to crack, because it's so cold and the sap is just expanding and the trees cracking, it almost sounds like gunshots going off. Yeah, that would trip me up.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So, you said that you've camped and everything in the heat of summer too. So, do you prefer camping in warmer weather or colder weather? And actually, I think that's probably one of AJ's questions that he asks a lot of times is, what is your favorite season to camp?
I would say fall for sure. Here in Minnesota, because we really get, the foliage really turns and gets really, really pretty, and then you have the warm days, and it gets warm, but it's not uncomfortably warm. You kind of get those days where you could be in a sweater or a t-shirt, in either or you'd be comfortable. And then the nights get cold enough to where you can kind of snuggle up and can bring out your warmer gear. You don't really sweat at night. It's not humid or anything like that. But I'm kind of leaning to the point where I prefer camping. I prefer winter to summer camping now.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
You can always add layers to stay warm. There's only a certain level of layers that you can take off, especially with you're around other people.
Exactly.
Social constraints and things like that.
Yeah. Nothing's worse than a really humid day out hiking or trying to sleep and just soaking it. Yeah.
I can relate. I can relate
all about that.
Yeah. You guys would know. Yeah.
Oh,
you guys know all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Fall seems to be the what everybody has been saying so far. That we
Spring is my least favorite.
Really?
It's all soggy and everything's muddy, and the ticks here are starting to come out in hordes. So yeah, I don't like hiking.
So we don't really have a fall here. We have we have what?
We have
summer, hurricane season, love bug season, and
winter happens on a Tuesday or a Thursday, and then it's summer again.
Yeah. So we actually love hearing about people camping in different types of weathers.
We live vicariously through all of our guests from the Great White North.
Yeah.
You guys should make it a point to get up here in the fall and camp. You guys,
I want to. I've said it on several episodes that I want to try winter camping.
Mm-hmm.
And AJ kind of.
I will go winter camping in the fall.
Winter camping in the fall.
I have seen some of those hangs and the temperatures that they have in Minnesota, and no, I'm good. I
just want to try it one night.
Yeah.
It may be all that it takes. Any mushroom is edible at least once.
Yeah, well, as long as I'm having a good time beforehand, that's all that matters, right?
I mean, if you die to your sleep, that's the best way to
go.
Yeah. For like the negative, for like the sub-zero trips, I've only ever done the one night. I think it looks like it gets real tricky when you do the multiple nights because all the condensation from you breathing gets all of your gear kind of wet. So you got to find a way to dry that out or some way to get all that moisture out of your gear during the day for the coming night. Gotcha. So you got to either hang it up in the sun, but I haven't had to deal with that. But I think the multi-day winter trips, there's some technical stuff you got to keep in mind or you're going to have a cold second night.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. Like especially your top quilt and having that breath, that moisture is going to stay in there for the multi-day trips. Yeah,
they'll be real crusty in the morning when you wake up. All that breath that goes on it. Gotcha. Even if you try not to breathe on it, you can't help it. It's just that you're breathing on it all night long.
Right.
So we're talking about with breakfast. Are you a coffee person, a hot tea person?
I love coffee. Yeah. I kind of started out with just dehydrated stuff, bringing that or the freeze dried coffee, and then I did the pour over with the GSI. Has this ultralight drip thing that snaps onto the top of your cup. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm doing that, but I've kind of leaned back towards the dehydrated stuff.
So, what's your go-to dehydrated coffee?
I like the Starbucks Pike's Place.
Okay.
Yep.
That's usually one of my pack that I have quite a bit. So yeah, I can relate to that. I'm a huge fan of they have a sugar-free Vietnamese instant coffee that's like a 3-in-1. It's really good. And as far as dehydrated coffee goes, there's a company, I forget exactly who they're from. Waka is, I think, the name. You can find them on Amazon. They have a Colombian blend that is really, really good for dehydrated coffee.
I've tried a Black Rifle coffee. There's their stuff that kind of snaps open and it's like a pour over, but it's disposable. That's really good too, but it's really expensive. I think it's like $6 per cup or something like that. Crazy. So,
is the 803 coffee? Is that something?
Oh, that's not dehydrated. Like if I'm taking,
instant, right?
Yeah, if I'm taking, if I'm not doing dehydrated coffee or instant coffee, I have an AeroPress Go that I use. It's either car camping, backpacking, or bike packing. And I have it's like a self-contained unit and it makes a really good cup of coffee. I will take my 803 when I'm doing something like that.
I've been wanting to get an AeroPress. I should pick one of those up. You like that?
I do. They have the regular version, and then they have an AeroPress. I think it's called an AeroPress Go. And it really just is a compacts down. It has the cup. You just plunge right down. It's stupid easy cleanup. And it's not a lot of like waste and stuff too. So
nice.
It's really good.
I should get one. You've convinced me.
Yeah. I mean, and they're pretty light as well. And leave a small footprint. So
nice. Okay.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I have a pour over that I have in my classroom. I have a kettle because science experiment and but yeah, I just pour over. It's definitely a lot less trash than even a pour over. You have a tiny paper disc. You can even get like the metal ones that you can just kind of wash off too, but after you press, it condenses down into this little puck. You push the puck out right into your trash bag and you're ready to go. That's all the cleanup it needs. So
nice.
It's really nice.
That sounds ideal.
So what has been probably the greatest piece of gear that you have bought that's had the biggest impact on your just camping or adventures in general?
Probably the hammock I got from Danny, the Superior Gear hammock. That's definitely like the highest quality piece of gear I own. It's just changed the game, because it just allows me to get out there. It's just warm, and it's not it's comfort rated, so it's not this survival rating like you see at REI, where you have to kind of guess how warm. I think it could maybe survive the night in this.
I might survive. I might not be comfortable at all, but
yeah. But this gear that I got from Danny, this quilt that I use is 30. It's a 30-degree quilt. And I was out there in the 20s, and I was comfortable.
He's very conservative too, though.
Yeah.
With his, so I mean, like, if he says it's 30 degree, it's probably literally about a 15 or 20 degree.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been a game changer. I mean, just to go out and not worry about, and then just know what the gear can do. And yeah, that's been a game changer.
Yeah, I think that's like a big weight lift off your shoulders to know, and that you can trust your gear to hold up, keep you comfortable, keep you warm. I think that takes, especially if you've started into camping with a bunch of like the Walmart tent or the Walmart sleeping bags, which, their ratings are conservative in the other direction, maybe very liberal in their estimates, but and you've had a lot of bad experiences, and how much that could weigh on your enjoyment of going out and camping, whether it be backpacking or car camping, whatever. But to know that, hey, no matter what, I know this gear is going to, keep me comfortable and warm. Like you said, it's a game changer. Now, when you got your Superior gear, did you go for the 10-foot or the 11-foot version?
I have a 10-foot.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not that tall. I'm 5'5", 5'6". So yeah.
Okay. AJ just got his a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to like take it out and like really test it. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I got a 10-foot. It's either 10 or 10.5. I mean, I'm 6 foot, but I don't mind a smaller hammock anyway. And it's really comfortable. It's really comfortable.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. And
I've still got to order mine.
And they're really nice. And so the reason I say that I like that hammock so much is because my first hammock, I just went on Amazon and found the cheapest hammock with a bug net I could find, and didn't even use an underquilt. I just went and hung it up in the backyard, got down to 60 degrees, and without an underquilt at 60 degrees, I was freezing. Yeah. I had a bail. So, and then I bought like a cheap, like an underquilt. I can't remember the brand of it. Got a super cheap underquilt, and I didn't really. I'm kind of weird in the fact that a lot of hammockers they've dabbled with a lot of different gear, and I kind of had this super cheap gear. Then I met Danny, and then I had this really expensive hammock, and that's all I hammocked with. So I got.
And then some of us dabble with really expensive gear.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. My wife, I really want to try a bridge hammock. I haven't done like a ridge runner, laid in a ridge runner or anything like that yet.
I still haven't set mine up.
I really want to try one.
So we need to get you down to HangCon in January.
I'd love to check that out. That'd be really neat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I might have a bridge hammock or two that I could set you up in.
Okay.
One or two.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'd really be interested in trying one.
So how did you get in touch or find out about Superior Gear?
So I was camping with Tim Buckley, and he said that there's this guy that's going to come out that makes hammocks and hang out with us. And it was Danny that showed up, and he brought out a bunch of hammocks and strung them up, and he knew
sales pitch.
Resistance was futile at that point. Yeah,
was that the video I was talking about earlier with y'all out there? It was you and Tim and Danny and I think one other guy. I can't remember who it was though.
Oh yeah, maybe Cody. Yeah. Yep, that one.
I think it was another YouTuber, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yeah, that would have probably been Cody. Yeah. Okay. Yep, that was that night. I slept in I made a tent out of just a regular 10x10 tarp that night.
Okay.
Yeah, I slept in that. And Danny's over there and it's super comfortable. Hammock, swimming away.
Yeah, Danny come out with a steak and everything else for dinner.
Yeah, he did. He did too, yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, we were talking before we came on. It's amazing how Danny kind of weaves his way into a lot of our podcasts.
Because a lot of people has his stuff though.
Yeah, he makes such good gear that it's just
it's like like I said, next week we're gonna be talking with Tim, and I know Tim uses his stuff. Week before last we were talking, we had Rob Pelton on, and Rob had a superior gear, hammock and everything.
Oh yeah.
But that's the thing, when you make good quality gear and a lot of people are using it, it's gonna be talked about a lot.
Yeah, those are all Minnesota boys too, so that's where Danny's from as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
So yeah.
Yep.
It's our home team. So
yeah, Danny usually comes down to HangCon. Each year. So definitely.
That sounds like a really awesome carpool there, Paul.
All y'all need to get together, you and Jim and
there you go,
Danny and everybody else, and just carpool down.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'll start asking the wife for approval, and you got this. I'm gonna be gone. Heading down to Florida. I can bring her with. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Bring her and the kids with.
Bring her and the kids. We've got a bunch of kids to come down. I'm sure my kids would love to have other kids around to play with. We have there's a playground that they have down there that's always bustling with kids while we have the event going on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There you go.
So you mentioned earlier in the podcast that you play a little music.
Yeah, I used to play a guitar quite a bit. Okay. Not so much anymore.
Well, that's an amp sitting behind you there, isn't it?
Yeah. That's that's my half stack. It's got 4 12-inch speakers in there. So yeah, I went right straight out of high school. I went to music tech, which is to learn to play guitar professionally, to make an attempt at that. And it was one of those things where it's something that's fun isn't fun when it has to be serious.
Right.
And it's tough to make money doing that. Even if you're talented, you're not guaranteed to make any money doing that.
So what type of guitars do you play?
What type, what brand of guitars do I play?
Yeah, like what do you have?
I have, they're hanging up and you can't see them. They're behind my monitors here, but I have a Martin acoustic and I have a Les Paul there. I have a Paul Reed Smith up here, and then I have an Ibanez. 4 of them hanging up on the wall above me here.
So what's your favorite type of music to play? If you're just kind of like jamming out on your own, so what kind of music are you playing?
I'll normally play like rock music, like not like heavy metal anymore. Just more like, just kind of laid back rock music.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've played since I was in the 10th grade, so I've never played professionally. I've done a few karaoke nights, a few open mic nights, and I used to play for churches a lot, but not so much performing anymore. But yeah.
Some of the
pretty legit sounding guitars you got there.
And now he plays ukulele at HangCon.
Some of the music in my videos is from me, some stuff that I've recorded.
Oh, that's
really
cool.
Some of it. But I primarily use Epidemic Sound now for all that stuff.
Yeah.
But.
Have you ever done any seriously recording?
Yeah. I mean, I've never really been like in a recording studio, just like with a band. At school, we got to go into studios and play around, but yeah, nothing to make money doing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it feels like a different life different life. That was in a previous life.
I can relate. So I'm a teacher now, and
Yeah.
I've been teaching for about 10 years. Before that, I had a career working with high school and middle school students in various nonprofit sectors. But I was a theater and religion major in college. So the closest thing that I came to being an education major was I dated one in college. That was the closest that I came. I've been moderately effective. So,
Nice.
And I guess I ended up marrying a teacher too. So
There you go.
there's that. She's much better than I am. She was meant to be a teacher from birth, but I just kind of fell into the gig.
I've never seen her teach or heard of her teachings and all that, but I can honestly say I totally believe that because I know you're teaching. Oh, that's funny. So let's talk about your YouTube channel just a little bit.
Sure.
I'm sitting here looking at it now, and you got several videos on here. I see you got different playlists for like adventures, learning to hot tent, DIY builds, DIY test, and then I saw this last one here, which I've binge watched all your videos, by the way.
Cool.
I love the 2-minute Tuesdays that you do.
Oh yeah, I tried that. Yeah.
I think those are pretty neat. Just quick little couple of minute, like for your knots and all that stuff. I think it's pretty neat.
I'll have to try that again. What I should have done was thought way ahead and like came up with all the topics way ahead of time for like the entire summer or something.
Gotcha.
And then because I like came up with like 3 and I'm like, I'm good to go. And then I was like struggling to like, what's my next topic? Because I only had a week to get ready for it.
So for our podcast.
Does that sound familiar, Paul?
So yeah, and then I was like struggling at like just trying to come up with like the good topics, and so I was like, I don't know.
Well, the ones that you have in there now, I think they're great. You got your ridgeline, knots, your basic knot tie-in. You got the couple. I tested the platypus quick draw.
Oh yeah.
Most important lessons I've learned. I like how they're all just real quick little videos.
Yeah,
it's pretty neat.
I'll have to try that. I'll have to try to do that again. Yeah, I'll have to think it out a little more though. Plan it out.
me and AJ say that every week about the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times it's like, okay, AJ will send me a message. Who do we got somebody to interview this weekend, or is it just gonna be me and you? Well, I don't know yet, AJ. I'll let you know. The new podcast don't come out until Friday. I'll let you know Thursday.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
We've said from the beginning that we want to have get 3 or 4 guests in a week. That way I can go ahead and edit and front load. That way we're not having to record every week. But
give you that buffer,
works.
Yeah. Where you can take
never
some time
works.
Off. Yeah.
So,
I try.
Yeah. It's worked out a little bit better since I've given AJ the task of stalking people.
Yeah.
So,
my next place that I'm going to try, I'm going to hop on OnlyFans, and I'm going to see if I can get some guests.
There you go. Yeah, that'd be some interesting podcasts there.
So what are some of the videos or maybe some of the adventures that you're kind of thinking about for the future, or what can some of your viewers be expecting in the next couple months or so?
So further off, past summer and everything, I have a trip in October that I'm planning to go do Pictured Rocks, hike a large section of that. And then I have, so what people can kind of look forward to going forward is I recently got a German Shepherd. So a 4-month-old German Shepherd. I brought her home at 8 weeks, and I'm going to been training her, and she's going to start coming camping with me.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
So going forward.
Is that the German Shepherd that's in the bunch of the pictures on Instagram?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. She's took over my Instagram at this point. Yeah. But so yeah, we're gonna start doing that, and maybe I'll throw some videos in there of how I'm training her to come on trail with me.
Well, that'd be neat, because I know there's a lot of people out there that, I see a lot of questions being asked about, having a dog as a hiking companion.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the biggest things is, a lot of people, I don't think that they know the amount of training that has to go in to train in a dog to make it to where it's, trail ready.
Yeah.
With the trail etiquette and everything else, and the do's and the don'ts and everything. So, I mean, that might be a neat little, segment that you could, have.
Yeah, that'd be neat. So people I'm going to start to do some content around that. Like for example, like right now, something that's important to me is like threshold manners. So in other words, what does my dog do when she comes to a gate and a fence? If I open the gate, does she burst through it and take off running? Or does she know to sit, let me go through and wait for my command to bring her through? And how do you train that?
I know there's another YouTuber that I know. She does a lot of just like day hikes and section hikes and stuff like that. Her trail name is Wheezy P, and she has a couple of dogs that she has trained to hike with her to the point of, if they're hiking and somebody else is coming down the trail towards them or whatever, her dog automatically knows to swap over to a certain side of her and everything else. Because there's a lot of people out there that, they're very timid by dogs.
Yeah.
And, so, if somebody don't know how to train their dog the right way to where, their dog goes running up or whatever, and I mean, there's a lot of people that don't have their dogs on leashes as well when they're out on trails and stuff.
Yeah. Which get a little sketchy, but sometimes, especially if it's not trained well.
And I mean, there's, you never know what can go through a dog's head either.
Right.
And I mean, you can have one of the nicest dogs ever and everything else, but something could click, or they could, catch, just a weird feeling from a certain person or whatever, and try and attack or whatever if they're off the leash.
Now I can kind of see people tense up when they see me coming with a German Shepherd every now and then. You kind of see them straighten up, like, oh, what's about to happen here? Because she's still kind of a puppy. She's only 4 months old, so she can kind of get a little antsy on the end of the leash when she sees someone trying to get her to stay mellow right now. But yeah, you kind of see people.
She's still in a playful mood.
Yeah. People get a little anxious about what's about to come out.
I love German Shepherds, though. A guy that I hiked the trail with, whenever I did my through hike, he had a German Shepherd, and that dog was awesome. Very well behaved and everything else. But I think his dog has actually passed a couple of years back.
Oh, bummer.
But yeah, it was pretty neat.
I grew up with a German Shepherd, so it's always kind of been something I've wanted to get.
Yeah, we had some whenever I was a kid. We actually probably had 3 or 4 in all. But
wow.
And I've always said, whenever my goal is to move up to the mountains and buy some property.
Oh, there you go.
And once I move up there, I mean, right now we just have 2 little Chihuahuas. They think they're German Shepherds,
How come you never really take them camping, Paul?
If I take them out, I have thought about taking Yeti.
And leaving him in the woods?
He's no, I'm not going to do that. It's just mean.
Intentionally.
But yeah, so whenever, buy some property and all that, I'd love to have a couple more German Shepherds.
Yeah, they're a lot of work. Like, I didn't realize like how much it is like owning a working breed dog that has to be thinking and has to be moving all the time. I've never spent so much time in my backyard. Rain or shine, I am out there because she needs to be out there and running around there. But yeah, it's been
good. You gotta have the right space and everything for them.
Yeah,
to be able to train them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if not, they get real antsy. If they
Or,
don't have,
or destructive, chewing on couches and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that I would be very interested to see that journey of training your dog to be kind of a trail companion and all the adventures and things that go along with that. I think that's a really cool
would be
series.
real neat, neat series.
You'll start seeing that stuff because I see a lot of people that hike with their dogs, but they don't really explain like how they trained it to do what it does.
Right.
So yeah, I'll just make sure I know what I'm talking about before I start putting that stuff out. Before I have everyone train their dog wrong.
Well, I'm sure the YouTube community will so graciously let you know what
they might inform me that I'm wrong. Yeah.
But the thing is, you have so many people that they'll watch a video of somebody going out with their dog, but they don't explain what it takes. Like I was saying a minute ago, and they're like, "Oh, I want to, get a dog to go camping with," and so that's what they do. They go to the pound, they buy a dog, and then they just take it out, just not knowing anything. So I think it'd be real neat if you do the series.
Yeah, you'll definitely start seeing that sort of stuff.
Awesome. Awesome.
So did you want to go over some of your random oddball?
My wonderful questions. Okay, so let's start with Paul's favorite. What is your favorite Christmas or holiday movie?
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Correct answer. So, this would be a good one since you're a music person. If you could go to your most perfect concert, who would be the two opening acts and who would be your main act?
That's a tough one. Probably like the opener. Who should open for who? It's tough for me to think of musicians I look up to and having them open for someone else that I look up to. Like I'll have Led Zeppelin as openers, so they'll come out and open. So some of the music I like is kind of obscure. Like I really like a band called Porcupine Tree. They're like a weird alt rock kind of band.
Okay.
When you talk to musicians, like people that they'll always give you these weird oddball bands, and you're like, "What the heck are you talking about?" I've never heard of any of this stuff. It's never on the radio. Why do you like it? But Porcupine Tree is a band that I really like, and I don't listen to them so much anymore, but I still like them. Tool probably be like the headliner. They want to put on some.
I have some really close friends that have gone to a couple of their concerts, back in the day, and they said they were absolutely incredible in concert.
I've been to their shows, the laser lights and stuff going, and it was unreal. Yeah, it was a good show.
Awesome. So, what has been your least favorite job to date?
Probably my very first job. I worked at Hardee's. And I went in there and I was like, I need a job, but I want to work in back. And he was like, well, you're really nice, so you're going to work in front. And I'm like, no, it was the worst. I was horrible at taking people's orders, always screwing up stuff. It was the worst job ever. I was not cut out for it. I want to be in back there where no one's bugging me. I just want to flip burgers. But it didn't work out.
I did my week sentence at a Hardee's too.
Yeah.
That's all it lasted was a week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was the worst. I was young and I drove there on my moped. I didn't have I was real cool.
So my fast food experience was in high school. I think it was for like 2 years. I worked at a Long John Silver's, but I was the cook. Like I was up front at first, and they're like, "No, you're gonna go back to the back," and I absolutely loved it. Like it was such a great job.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I was only there for a week, and I was in the back, and the guy that trained me, I think he was just being a jerk. But before he got ready to leave for the day, he told me that they had to have, at least X amount of runs of chicken, done within a certain amount of time. So I done that. Well, it was a lot more than what was needed. So now I got my butt chewed because the manager didn't know that that's what I had been told. And now they have so much chicken just sitting there, now the managers, going to everybody that's coming through the drive-through trying to sell them a special that he just made up on the spot, for chicken, so it's like, okay, no, I'm not going to deal with this crap, so it didn't last long.
Okay, so I guess probably my last kind of random questions that Paul loves is if you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Probably to travel through time. If I could just pop back in time or pop forward in time, I think that'd be a really good superpower. And I'd definitely be rich.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I think that would be a good superpower.
See, I watch a lot of like the history shows on TV and stuff, and I have actually thought of the same thing, how I think it would be neat to be able to go back in time and see how, certain stuff was actually done that they speculate on and everything.
Yep.
I think that would be pretty neat.
Yeah, but as long as I didn't have to like interact with anyone, 'cause there's certain time periods where it'd probably be a little dicey to be around.
Yeah, that is true.
That'd be super, super cool.
So just off the top of my head, if you could go back in time, what would be a time period that you would go?
Be cool to see like Native Americans, just before they, had we ruined stuff to them.
Right.
It'd be kind of cool to see, what they were doing and how they were doing it. I think that'd be super neat to see. Probably way, way back. Let it go way, way back into like biblical times and see that sort of stuff.
Yes.
See Jesus and him doing his thing. That'd be amazing.
Awesome.
I'd probably go back and talk with Jesus.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was actually thinking during Easter, every year I always watch the whole, the Bible deal that they always go through and talk about. And I was saying I watch that every year. And I was thinking the same thing, actually. Going back to that time, I'd love to go back and actually see how like the pyramids were built and how,
aliens, Paul. It's aliens.
Well, that's what I hear.
Everyone knows that. Everyone
knows
what I hear. I just want to see it. And like Stonehenge and places like that.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, it would be.
So.
Versus Stonehenge now, where apparently it's right next door to like a major highway. So when you go there, it's not like this serene place. It's just
really?
Like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is on like right next to a major highway that goes through.
Yeah.
So
when you see it on TV and everything,
it's
all camera angles.
Yeah.
Real selective.
Camera angles play a big part in it.
All right. I never knew that. That's good to know.
All right. So do you got any more questions, AJ?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Then I'm going to finish it off with one question that I usually ask. And that is, what are 3 tips that you would give somebody that is just starting off into hammock camping?
Oh, okay. So I would say first, know your gear. So that means if you have a backyard, set up your gear, take it down, sleep in the backyard, and know what it's capable of before you try to tromp into the woods with it. Just because you're guaranteed to be uncomfortable the first couple nights or unsure of how things sets up and it's going to get wonky.
Right.
Yeah. So, or if you don't have a backyard, go to a park and at least just set it up and tear it down if you can't sleep in it.
Right. Somewhere close to home.
Yeah. Yeah. Try to stay close to home.
Okay.
And then I would say going forward, try to control the amount of change you implement on each trip. That means don't go to a new place with new gear, with just try to, if you're going to implement some sort of change, just try to change one element. Like I'm going to change how I start fires this trip. Maybe that might be a bad example. I maybe would practice that one, but yeah, just try to control that. You don't go out there with and expect it to take on a bunch of new stuff.
Okay.
Change one thing at a time.
Oh, that's one that we haven't heard before. I think that's a really, really good piece of advice. Not changing so much just in one trip.
And the last thing, let's see. So I think that when I started hiking, I would set up. I never would look up. I never looked up to see what was above my head, or look down at my feet to see all the dead widow makers that have fallen off, last week. And there's probably more up there that are going to come down. So I would say just always look up, especially if you're going to be dispersed camping out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, that'd be my 3.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's another great piece of advice, because a lot of I remember when tent camping, I would have never thought to look up. You're always looking on the ground to see, was there a rock right here? Is there a stump right here? Oh, there's a bunch of acorns. This is not going to work. And really, even when I started hammock camping, it was just looking at, okay, this tree and this tree are good enough, and then you set up and you're fine until the time when you're not.
Yeah.
So there's definitely been times where I have set up everything and then just, oh crap, that's not going to work. You have to take everything down and find a new location.
Yeah, or risk it, which is probably the bad call.
I do have to say, I'm still at times guilty of not really fully looking, I guess, until after I get set up, like AJ said, and then get set up and then you kick back to relax, and that's when you are staring up,
Whoops. Yeah.
I remember when we went camping at Tugaloo State Park in Georgia over Thanksgiving this past year, and I got everything set up: tarp, quilts, hammock, everything. I'm laying in the hammock, and my mother-in-law comes over and she's like, "Are you sure you're okay with that?" Oh no. So I step out and look up. It's like, well, if the wind blows that way, that's not going to fall. So I'm like rationalizing, how much of a danger am I in? It's probably not a good thing for me to do. But I do remember when I was set up at Spring Swing in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. I set up. Luckily, I had not set up the tarp yet, but I'd set up the hammock and then looked, and it was probably a couple trees down the row from where I was. It was very dead. Like there was no life left. And if it had fallen, it would have been crazy close. And I had to make the decision like, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to move.
And so that brings up something to mind here is that I always used to think of like the beginners of making the big blunders, the big mistakes. And it's always the really super experienced people that make the most dangerous, life-threatening mistakes because they get complacent. And they have no qualms about going way, way out. They're doing something, the more dangerous trips, the more harsh temperatures and whatnot.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. But all right, Aaron. Well, it was nice having you on the show. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great chatting with you.
Thanks.
Now, people can reach out to you. Let's see here. I've got it on my screen here. Your Instagram is instagram.com/Signal Outdoors.
Yep.
And then your YouTube is youtube.com/@Signal Outdoors, no space. So I'm gonna I'll put both of those in the show notes and everything, and so that way people can follow you on Instagram and subscribe to your YouTube channel and check out some of your awesome videos and everything.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yep. And if you ever want to come back on the show, just give us a holler and we'll be glad to have you back on. Once you get your dog trained up some and all that and get some of those videos, come back on. We'll talk about that a little bit. Are you gonna try and teach her to sleep in the hammock?
Yeah, I've actually been trying to think about the logistics of that. Yeah, I'll have to figure that one out. I'll throw in her gear hammock underneath my hammock. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
But I'll come back on and we'll do a tutorial on how to stop your dog from chewing on your hammock.
There you go. All right. Well, again, it was great having you on, and everybody just go to the show notes and click on the links that I have there for Aaron's Instagram and YouTube. Subscribe to his YouTube, watch his videos, follow him on Instagram. Give him a holler, and just let him know what you think of his videos and all that. Same with the Hammock Hangers podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Give us a follow on YouTube and everything. And until next week, happy hanging, everyone.